with a woman who had a sick daughter. This woman had dogs. Verses 22 through 25. A Canaanite woman from that vicinity came to him, crying out, "Lord, Son of David, have mercy on me. My daughter is suffering terrible from demon possession." Jesus did not answer a word. So his disciples came to him and urged him, "Send her away, for she keeps crying out after us." He answered, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel." The woman came and knelt before him. "Lord, help me," she said. It is remarkable how Matthew describes the manner in which this woman addresses Jesus. She calls him Lord, which is completely unusual for a person of her position. It would be like one of you calling someone apparently inferior to you as Mr. President, or Your Highness, or a similar important title. Also, she is very humble. She knelt down, something that no Gentile would do in front of a Jew, especially if they are in their own country. Verse 26, Jesus replied, "It is not right to take the children's bread and toss it to their dogs." There are a few things that I would like to point out concerning this particular portion. First, Matthew describes this woman as a Canaanite. Do you remember who the enemies of Israel were? We just studied that in our Bible study. The Canaanites. We also find people from outside the borders of this nation to be our enemies. A lot of people bombard the media with information to fuel the hatred against non-Americans. We do not know for sure if she understood or if she heard what they asked Jesus, because it's likely that Jesus and his disciples communicated among themselves in a language called Aramaic. And then when Jesus spoke to this lady, he had to do it in Greek, which was the common language. Let us consider that Matthew was not talking about the enemies of Israel when he described her as a Canaanite. But since Mark describes her as a Syrophoenician woman, a Greek, we understand that he was describing a person from one of the nations surrounding Israel. Verse 27, "Yes, Lord," she said, "but even the dogs that eat the crumbs that fall from their master's table." What is her petition? She doesn't ask for the bread. She doesn't even ask for a piece of the bread. She's not asking for a bite, just for the crumbs, insignificant and considerable pieces that fall on the ground. The woman had a very positive attitude. She did not feel offended because there was no reason for that. She understood her place. She knew who she was talking to, the Jewish Messiah, the Son of David, the Lord. She knew she could put her faith in Jesus, and that is what Jesus acknowledged and praised her for that. Verse 28, "Then Jesus answered, 'Woman, you have great faith. Your request is granted.' And her daughter was healed that very hour." As this contextualization took place, she received much more than the crumbs. She got what she wanted. Her daughter was healed that same hour. Amen. Jesus didn't even have to touch this precious child to heal her and to express his love for her. When this dear lady got home, she received good news. Her daughter had been healed since Jesus spoke the word, "Your request is granted." What comfort. What joy she received. She had good news to share as well. The good news that Jesus is the one who healed that little child. The good news that Jesus is Lord. He is the Jewish Messiah. Jesus is the Son of God. Amen. What better news than that could we bring to our loved ones? What greater news could we share with our families? It is easy. It is simple. It is